The Pats bye week is in the rear view, and Mike Vrabel took no time reminding everyone how big this week is. This is Locked On Patriots.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening? I am your host, Nick Cattles, born and raised in New England, been covering the Patriots for the past 16 years. Also co-host of the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast with, you got it, Nick Cattles, and a sports radio veteran. Welcome to Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, now the #1 sports podcast network. And on today's episode, Will Campbell is spotted in the locker room, and we'll tell you whether or not the latest report leaves us optimistic. Also, while the Pats were taking time off, their path to the ultimate goal might have, I stress might have, gotten easier. But first, Mike Vrabel isn't wasting any time. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Before we get into Mike Vrabel wasting no time in sending a message to his team and sending a message to anyone who wants to listen to him speak, watch him speak, or read his words, we do have a quick note. Quick note before we start, the Patriots-Ravens game, Week 16, has been flexed to Sunday night. So if you haven't heard that just yet, the Patriots game against the Ravens in Baltimore has been flexed to Sunday night. Make the changes you need to make with your schedule and your calendar right before Christmas. So that game now is a Sunday night game, Drake Maye versus Lamar Jackson. Mike Vrabel, all season long, and even before the season, has taken a week-to-week approach. He doesn't try to get too far ahead of himself when he is asked a question about something well down the road, or even maybe a couple of days, a few weeks down the road. He is always bringing it back to a week-to-week, day-to-day approach. But here's the thing. Mike Vrabel is not disingenuous when there are actual stakes at hand. And don't get it twisted. On Sunday, there are legitimate stakes on the table for the Patriots. If the Patriots win on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills at Gillette Stadium, they win the AFC East. Who thought that we would be talking about that as we got ready for Week 15? I remember when the schedule came out, we looked, all right, you get the bye week. And then maybe in that final month, playing Buffalo, playing Baltimore, back-to-back weeks, maybe, just maybe, you can prove to the football world that you can compete to a point against those annual contenders. Here we are. You fast forward, bye week in the rear view, getting ready for Week 16, 15. And we're looking at this and we're saying, well, the Patriots have a chance to win the AFC East. I don't think anybody thought that this was going to be the case. Even the most optimistic person. Mike Vrabel was on the Greg Hill Show on Monday morning on WEEI, and he was asked about the quote that we mentioned on yesterday's podcast, where he was talking about champions never being satisfied. And he was asked about using champions after the Giants game. And this is what he said, transcribed by Mike Reese, who's great at ESPN. Quote, "It's what we're playing for. We're playing for a championship this week. Each week you have a new opportunity. This is a championship week for us," unquote. Phil Perry, NBC Sports Boston, wrote about Vrabel's message at Monday's press conference with the media. Perry posted, Mike Vrabel says he's not big on reminding players that it's a hat and t-shirt game this Sunday. Quote, "We're just trying to play for the championship that we have available to us this week," unquote. So Mike Vrabel, of course, is keeping his distance from the Bill Belichick hat and t-shirt approach, while at the same time establishing the idea of a hat and t-shirt game. He's just not going to talk about the hat and t-shirts too much, okay? But we all understand, just like Belichick would call it a hat and t-shirt game, Mike Vrabel is saying this week we get to play for a championship. So he's looking at this almost as like a mini Super Bowl for his team on Sunday. That's what he's doing. And he's embracing the opportunity. Why not embrace the opportunity that is in front of you? You have an opportunity to let the Buffalo Bills know that this is no longer your division. We are back and we are ready. What better way to embrace a challenge by going out there and publicly stating it? Yeah, we're well aware of what's going on. We are well aware that we have a quote unquote championship game this week. Embrace the opportunity, embrace the challenge that is going to be ahead of you. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, they do not want to go silently. They want to make this as tough as humanly possible with every fiber of their being on Sunday. They don't want to just give up the division. As happy as the Patriots are for being in this position, as happy as Patriots fans are to be in this position, the Buffalo Bills are saying, wait a minute, this is still our playground. You might have beat us week 5, but this is still our division. We're not going to give you this division week 15. And the fans of the Buffalo Bills are likely saying, no thanks. We've seen enough of the Patriots. We've had to go through Tom Brady and all that stuff forever, for decades. We're done with that. This is still our division. But Mike Vrabel is embracing this opportunity. He's embracing this challenge. He's being honest with his players. He is putting the challenge in front of them. He is not running from it. What he is doing is he is setting the stage. He is setting the stage for Sunday afternoon by letting all of us know he's not going to treat this just like any other game. He's not going to be disingenuous with you or his players. He's going to highlight the fact that this is a chance for you to win a championship in front of your fans in your stadium. This is setting the stage for a big game on Sunday. And players are picking up the message because, of course, they are. Phil Perry posted, Marcus Jones appreciated hearing Mike Vrabel say players completed. I'll start over. Marcus Jones appreciated hearing Mike Vrabel say players competed like champions following the Giants win, but added, quote, saying the sentence doesn't mean anything unless you do it, unquote. Absolutely. Saying it doesn't mean anything unless you go out there and you do it. And this is why through the first 13 weeks of the season, before they got to their bye week, that Mike Vrabel has been honest with them. That Mike Vrabel has been slowly but surely building credibility and building trust between himself, the coaching staff, and these players. Because when he stands up in front of the room on Monday and says, we have a chance to compete for a championship on Sunday, this is what we have been working towards. Everybody in that room believes him. The coaches believe him. The players believe him. And it's fact. You are competing for a championship this Sunday. And everything that this coach has told you, every way this coach has handled week after week after week after week, leads you to this moment. I would just have to venture to guess the Patriots are going to be ready to run through a wall on Sunday. This is just setting the standard. Mike Vrabel wants to set the standard. He wants to win this championship on Sunday. He wants to do something that the Patriots have not done since 2019. Think about that. Think about this. The Patriots on Sunday, they're opening as underdogs. Our friends at FanDuel have the Buffalo Bills in New England, in Foxborough on Sunday. FanDuel has the Buffalo Bills as a 1.5 favorite. The Patriots, the number 2 seed in the AFC, hosting the opportunity to win the AFC East, is the underdog on Sunday. You don't think guys will be aware of this? You don't think Mike Vrabel, in his own way, has made guys aware of this? This is perfect. This keeps the Patriots grounded. Don't take it for granted. You just had your bye week. You're sitting in a great spot at 11-2 in that 2 seed right now. But Vegas, I'm sure many pundits see the Buffalo Bills as the favorites going into your house. It's going to be a very interesting Sunday. If the Pats take care of business on Sunday, the focus will turn to a much bigger goal. That goal and the Pats' chances of getting there next as we continue with today's Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. And live betting is best when the game starts to shift. You know what I'm talking about. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. And FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. I'm talking about live spreads and money lines adjusting instantly, player props updating as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every single solitary snap, drive, and possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit this website, FanDuel.com, and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Patriots with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month, or you can go for $50 on the year. Go to https://lockedonpatriots.com, supercast.com/ or check the link in the show notes to learn more. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to help a brother out, help a podcast out. Click that thumbs up, give us the like, comment, and subscribe as we continue to dance on towards 8,000 subscribers, as we also continue to dance toward the year 2026. The Patriots right now are the number 2 seed in the AFC heading into week 15. And here's the tough news. We'll get the tough news out of the way first. The Pats are not in control of their own destiny. What do we mean by that? Well, Adam Schefter posted before Denver beat Vegas on Sunday, if Denver beats Vegas, which they did, the Broncos clinch any two-way tiebreaker with New England for playoff seeding based on better record against common opponents. The Patriots lost in week 1 to the Raiders. Oh, yes. That week 1 loss, which is a distant memory at this point, rears its ugly, ugly head. So the number 1 seed will come down to overall record. It's as simple as that. If you want to know if the Patriots have a shot to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, they do. The way they do that is finishing with a better overall record than the Denver Broncos. There's no tie-breaking scenario that will, quote-unquote, save the Pats in this situation. Now, here's the good news. The Patriots still have a shot. They still have a shot. You look at the remaining schedule. You host Buffalo this weekend. Then you have the newly flexed Sunday night game at Baltimore in week 16. You stay on the road, but you go to the Jets. If you just watch the Jets on Sunday, my goodness, were they awful against Miami. You got to go to the Jets and play them week 17. Their season is dead already. And then you host Miami. Now, Miami showing some life over the past several weeks. They're still in the hunt, as they say. But Miami has to come to New England in January. So, will they be comfortable? I don't think so. You can look at this schedule versus Buffalo, at Baltimore, at the Jets, versus Miami, and you would certainly hope the Patriots could finish at, 3-1? Now, some might say they'll finish at 2-2. They'll lose to Buffalo and Baltimore. They'll finish it out by beating the Jets at Miami. But I think you can reasonably look at the Final Four and say the Patriots, hey, they could split. They could split the next 2 weeks between Buffalo and Baltimore, but they best finish strong those final 2 weeks and beat the Jets and beat the Dolphins. So if you finish 3-1, you obviously need the Broncos to go 2-2. And Denver has the tougher remaining schedule. Yes, they have 2 home games coming up, but they have to host the Green Bay Packers, one of the best teams in football. They have to host the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are better than we thought that they would be. Then they have to go on the road to Kansas City. And I know Kansas City, after what happened last night on Sunday Night Football, didn't look great, right? They lost to the Houston Texans, and for all intents and purposes, it feels like they're absolutely outside of the playoff picture now. But still, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Andy Reid. I don't think they're going to go quietly into the night, especially against a division rival. And then the Broncos host another game, but that's against the Chargers. And the Chargers are I'm sure, going to be fighting for some kind of playoff implications on that weekend. I'm not telling you Denver will go 2-2 over their final four, but what I am telling you is Denver going 2-2 is not impossible. And if Denver does go 2-2 and you finish 3-1, you leapfrog them and you finish with the number one seed in the AFC. Now, the Pats' chances, aside from the one seed, the Pats' chances of making a deep run continues to improve, in my opinion, with or without the number one seed. The ultimate goal, we all know it. The ultimate goal is hoisting that Lombardi trophy. And if you're looking at the rest of the conference, as time has gone on, the Patriots continue, it feels like every single week, they continue to improve their chances to make that run, to give them at least the opportunity to hoist that trophy. So let's look at this. The AFC is full of questions. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Baltimore are all either out of the playoffs or they are on life support. They need a ton of help. And if I told you before the season that Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Baltimore would all miss the playoffs, you would likely look at me like I was absolutely freaking out of my mind. But here we are, getting ready for week 15, and all three of those teams, they're either out or on life support. Now, I'm recording this before Monday Night Football. So with that said, the Chargers are obviously playing the Eagles on Monday night. We'll see how that game unfolds and who wins. Both teams have lots of questions, even though they're both 8-4. But the Chargers, no matter what happens on Monday night against the Eagles, they are still without their starting offensive tackles. Joe Alt's not coming back. Rashawn Slater's not coming back. Both those guys are done for the season. And now you've got Justin Herbert. We'll see what he looks like on Monday night, but he's playing with a broken bone in his hand. So the Chargers have a ton of questions. Pittsburgh, I'm not afraid of Pittsburgh. I know they beat Baltimore on Sunday. Couldn't care less. Baltimore is struggling. Their offense is struggling. Their defense has not been very good. Pittsburgh needed not one, not two, but 5 turnovers from the Patriots for them to escape with a win in Foxborough. And if you play the Steelers, you're going to play them in Foxborough most likely, right? If you play them in the postseason, they're going to have to come to Gillette. I'm not afraid of Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, over the weekend, Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts, they've gone, 1-4 in their last 5 games, I believe. And on top of that, Daniel Jones suffers an Achilles injury. The Colts are pretty much dead in the water at this point now. Even if they get to the playoffs, which is going to be a tall task without Daniel Jones, even if they get to the playoffs, I think they're one and done. So Indy falls back. Jacksonville has won games. They've been playing some good football. They're 9-4, but I still look at that team and I say, Trevor Lawrence is up and down. I got questions about that quarterback. And if Jacksonville has to come to New England in January, I'm not totally buying that Trevor Lawrence is that dude to walk into Gillette Stadium and win that type of game. Denver, no joke. Defensively, they're terrific. They get after the quarterback. Bo Nix, though, he's been up and down. And I don't know if you can go into the playoffs saying, hey, our quarterback can be bad for 3 quarters, but he'll show up in the 4th. I don't know if you can survive that. They've survived it during the regular season. They've won a bunch of one-possession games. They've had a bunch of comebacks, a bunch of crazy finishes. Is that sustainable? We'll have to wait and see. The Houston Texans might be the scariest opponent. That's who I'm looking at right now. I'm not telling you that the Patriots have, the inside track or it's going to be easy peasy 1-2-3-zy. But what I am telling you is the Houston Texans, to me, is the biggest challenge right now. They are 6-1 over the last 7 games, including wins against the Niners, the Jaguars, the Bills, the Colts, and the Chiefs. Their only loss was actually to the Denver Broncos, and that was a 3-point loss. Houston can run the football. CJ Stroud, when he's good, he can be really good, and their defense is the best in football. They're not flawless. The Texans are not flawless, but no team is flawless, especially this year when you look across the board. Houston's second half offense has not been good, adjusting for the most part. Nick Caley, their offensive coordinator, has had some issues adjusting in game. The offensive line has some questions. The opportunity is there for the Patriots. And you look around the rest of this conference, it feels like the rest of this conference is getting worse as the Patriots have gotten better over the past month and a half. The opportunity is there, but it all starts this weekend when you can win that championship, when you can win that AFC East. The Pats are back at work, which means they are back on the practice field. We'll have the very latest on the biggest injuries coming up. This is Locked On Patriots, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. You can say yes to making the switch and get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number in contacts. Here's what's great about Mint Mobile. You're getting the same quality service you had before, but for a fraction of the price, and the setup is super easy. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 GB on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees are extra. See Mint Mobile for details. The Pats had a bonus practice on Monday because they're coming off the bye, which means no official injury report just yet. But we have some important injury updates for you. Let's start with Will Campbell. His long-term prognosis is looking good, and it's looking even better sooner than I thought it would look. And if you're wondering what was reported on Monday, Doug Kyed of the Boston Herald posted that Will Campbell was walking through the locker room with nothing on his knee, not a thing on Will Campbell's knee as he struts around Gillette Stadium. Now, he did eventually, according to Doug Kyed, put a sleeve over his right leg. But the fact that he's not wearing any extra bracing, nothing that is like of significant support, that's great news. Burt Breer, yes, he came out recently and said that Will Campbell has a grade 3 MCL sprain. Burt Breer put 4 to 6 weeks as the timeline, according to his reporting. Will Campbell was hurt 2 weeks ago. He was hurt on November 23rd. So the Sunday before Thanksgiving is when Will Campbell first had the injury. So we're talking about a couple of weeks. And after a couple of weeks, no extra bracing, nothing that looks like he is, completely unable to walk or move around as freely as he wants. That has to be great news. That has to be great news. But with that said, I still think the Week 18 decision is fluid. Of course, Will Campbell can't come back until Week 18 when the Patriots host the Dolphins. And I think there are a number of questions you've got to ask, and the Patriots will ask before they say, yeah, we're going to play Will Campbell, or we're going to play Will Campbell a ton. First question is, does the game have any stakes? Are you playing for anything? Are you playing for seeding? Are you playing for the bye? Does that game, Week 18 against the Dolphins, does it have any stakes for you? Are you playing other starters? And if you are, I'm sure Will Campbell will want to be out there with other starters. How's he feel? How does Will Campbell feel by Week 18? Is he ready to be out there? Because it doesn't matter what Will Campbell wants. The team has to make the decision because the player is always going to want to play, especially when you talk about an offensive lineman, especially when you talk about a left tackle who on draft night went out there and said that he would die for his quarterback. He's going to want to get back out there. but you have to do what's best for him and what's best for the team. Will Campbell is not making that decision. And what will play a role in that decision is Vederian Lowe. How has Vederian Lowe been playing? If Vederian Lowe plays as well as he played against the New York Giants, then you can live without Will Campbell until he's feeling even better. So I still think that week 18 decision, it's going to be fluid up until that week. How is Will Campbell feeling? Does the game have any stakes? Who else is starting? And how has Vederian Lowe performed in Will Campbell's absence? Meanwhile, the Pats got significantly good news elsewhere on the O-line. Jared Wilson returned to this bonus practice on Monday, and he returned as left guard 1. He immediately went back to right where he was. Ben Brown was back to being a backup offensive lineman. So Jared Wilson, not only back at practice, but back getting those starter reps, which tells me he's pretty healthy. So the high ankle sprain, Diana Rossini reported this going back a week or two ago. At the time, Diana Rossini said that the Patriots felt like, yeah, it's a high ankle sprain, but Jared Wilson, when you look at the timeline, he could be coming back sooner rather than later. That you would look at that timeline and take the fewer weeks part of the timeline than, if he's going to be out 4, 5, 6 weeks. And this is why the Patriots obviously did not put him on the IR. They felt like they had a good chance, a good shot of getting him back ASAP, and they look like they have. So Jared Wilson was back at practice. I would say it's less of a concern for me, frankly, than I was, being concerned with that injury when it initially happened, because Ben Brown did a good job against the Giants. And I don't think you lose a ton by going from Jared Wilson to Ben Brown. However, you do want Jared Wilson out there. He's learning the guard position still. He was playing some of his best football right before the injury. Get him back out there, get his confidence up. If he's ready to go, he's ready to go. Don't pump the brakes. Put him back out there. He needs reps. He needs experience. Now, as far as some of the other players, Kyrie's Tonga, Brennan Schooler, Robert Spillane, all three of those guys also returned to practice. However, I would tell you that according to those watching this practice, Kyrie's Tonga seemed limited, so he wasn't fully back. Robert Spillane also looked like he was limited at this practice. Might not mean anything. It's a bonus practice. It's Monday. We'll know a heck of a lot more when you get to Wednesday and Thursday as to what the health situation truly is with Kyrie's Tonga and Robert Spillane. And this is huge. This is a huge week for both of those guys because, of course, we talked about it in the first segment. The opportunity is there. The challenge is there. And part of that challenge is Buffalo's run game and James Cook and Josh Allen with Josh Allen's mobility. So in a perfect world, you would have Kyrie's Tonga and Robert Spillane out there on Sunday healthy or as healthy as they can be. So those two guys are very important to the program, especially this week. Harold Landry was not out there at practice on Monday. I would not take too much out of that. It's probably more of a management situation. They have managed Harold Landry really ever since that Tennessee game. So I would not be too concerned with that. Now, we'll see what happens. Wednesday, Thursday, if Harold Landry's not out there, I start to get a little bit more concerned. And Terrell Jennings was not at practice on Monday. Of course, the last that we knew, Terrell Jennings was in the concussion protocol. So we'll see if he comes back later in the week. But Will Campbell, not much assistance walking around, which is great news. Jared Wilson back at practice with the starting offensive line. That is great news. And at least you got Kyrie's Tonga, Brennan Schooler, and Robert Spillane on the practice field. Even though Kyrie's Tonga and Robert Spillane were limited, it is progress. It is a step forward for those guys. Hopefully all of them are back for this big game on Sunday, and we'll see about Harold Landry and Terrell Jennings. That wraps up this edition of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making us your first listen and for being an everydayer. Reach out to me on Twitter at Nick C Radio. Don't forget to throw a comment in on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button and subscribe. And did Locked On Patriots make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to members only, that Discord channel. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.